Today, I'm going to go over 5 signs your mental health is declining and what you can actually do about it. Most people think mental health decline means something dramatic like a breakdown, a panic attack, not being able to get out of bed. But for most people, it doesn't look like that at all. It's way more subtle. You're still going to work, still replying to texts, still smiling in photos, and yet something shifted. You don't feel quite like yourself. Your energy's different, your outlook's darker, and it gets easier and easier to tell yourself, I'm just tired, or I've just been busy. But what if those aren't just excuses? What if those are symptoms? In this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 very real signs that your mental health might be slipping. I'll break down what to look for, why it matters, and what actually helps. These aren't going to be quick fixes or empty advice. They're grounded ways to get your footing back when things start to slide. Let's start with the first sign. Number 1, pessimistic outlook. When your mental health is declining, one of the first things that shifts is the way you think about the future. You stop believing things will improve. You stop believing your actions matter. You expect disappointment, even if nothing's actually gone wrong yet. This doesn't always sound like sadness. Sometimes it sounds like resignation, like, what's the point? Or, it's probably not going to work out anyway. You start turning down new opportunities, not because you don't want them, but because you're convinced they'll fail. You imagine rejection before you've even tried, and slowly, the future stops feeling open. It starts feeling like a hallway with no doors. People often describe it like driving in heavy fog. You know the road is still there, but it doesn't feel like it leads anywhere worth going. So, what actually helps? Put hope on the calendar. Plan something short-term, mid-term, and long-term, even if it's small. The brain needs real scheduled things to look forward to. A coffee date next week, a movie release next month, a trip 6 months from now. Even if you're not excited yet, just having something on the horizon helps. The next thing that helps is to think about your thinking in terms of utility, not positivity. It's not about forcing yourself to think positive. That rarely works, especially when you're already feeling low. Instead, ask, is this thought useful? Does it help me move towards what I care about? You're not judging the thought as good or bad. You're evaluating whether it's working for you. A thought can be unpleasant and still helpful. A thought could also be optimistic but not helpful. So it's really about thinking about the utility behind your thoughts. The next thing you can do is catch your patterns. When you notice your mind jumping to worst case scenarios, pause, ask yourself, what else could be true? What else is even possible? You don't have to believe the best case scenario, you just need to remind the brain that multiple outcomes can exist. The next thing that can be helpful is to surround yourself with forward-thinking people. People who make plans, people who try things, people who still believe. Change is possible. You don't have to mirror their mindset perfectly, but proximity to hope is often enough to keep you from shutting down. The second sign of mental health decline is involuntary appetite changes. When mental health declines, appetite often follows. You might find yourself eating more than usual, especially in the evenings, or just skipping meals entirely without realizing it. It's not always about hunger. Sometimes it's about soothing. Sometimes it's about numbness. Sometimes you forget to eat because nothing sounds appealing. Or you binge on snacks at night because it gives you something to focus on. Some people notice patterns like eating late at night, not because they're hungry, but because it keeps them from sitting alone in silence. Others realize they've had nothing but crackers all day and feel lightheaded, but still can't connect it to missing meals. So what actually helps? Start with gentle awareness, not tracking every bite, but noticing what you eat, how you eat, and what mood you're in when you reach for food or avoid it. Ask, am I fueling or numbing? Get curious about your motivations, especially during moments of stress or boredom. Something else that can help is to regulate through other means. Instead of eating to soothe, try grounding, movement, or even calling someone. You can also consult a professional, a dietitian, or a therapist that can help you decode the emotional drivers behind your eating patterns. You need to understand what your body is trying to tell you. Number 3 is low energy. This one's big and it's easy to misread. You wake up tired, you go through each day in a haze, every decision feels heavier than it should. You're not just tired, you're weighed down. You look at your to-do list and feel frozen. Even tasks that take or are supposed to take 5 minutes, like texting someone back or folding clothes, feel like they require way more energy than you have. And what people tend to do is blame themselves. They say, I'm just being lazy, or I have no willpower. But low energy isn't about weakness, it's about depletion. Your system is in conservation mode. So what helps? Morning sunlight. Let natural light hit your eyes within the first hour of waking. It helps regulate your body clock. Also, gentle movement. Nothing intense, just walking around the block or stretching in your room. It signals your body that it's time to be awake. Another thing that can help is cold water. Splashing in your face or ending a shower cold for 30 seconds stimulates your vagus nerve, helping alertness without caffeine. Also important is going to be balanced meals. Not dieting, just fuel, protein, fiber, and fat. Stabilizing your blood sugar levels helps stabilize your brain. Lastly, respect rest, but structure it. Set gentle routines around waking up and sleeping even if you're still tired. You don't need to force productivity, you need to restore your capacity. Number 4 is loss of pleasure. You don't necessarily feel sad, you just feel flat. Things that used to bring you joy, your hobbies, your favorite shows, your rituals, they just don't land the same way anymore. You find yourself going through the motions, watching the movie, taking a walk, texting the group chat, but you feel like a bystander in your own life. People describe it like being in a room where the music is playing but you can't hear it. You're surrounded by life but not touched by it. That's called anhedonia, and it's one of the clearest signs that your brain has stopped anticipating joy. So what can actually help you? Introduce novelty. Try new activities, even low-effort ones. Take a different walking route. Visit a new place that you've never been to before. Order something random from a menu. Just try something new. And when you try something new, don't expect to enjoy it immediately. Just focus on doing something unfamiliar. The next thing that can help is to reconnect with your sensory experiences. Smell, texture, taste. Engaging the senses can reignite emotional connection. The next thing that can help is to create micro-joy opportunities. One small joyful act per day, a good song, a candle you love, a silly meme can begin to lift the fog. Joy isn't gone, it just needs a new place to land. And the 5th sign your mental health is declining is social isolation. When your mental health declines, connection feels harder. You stop reaching out, you stop replying. You turn down invitations not because you want to be alone, but because interacting starts to feel exhausting. You might still go places, you might still be around people, but you feel like you're behind a glass wall, watching life happen, but not feeling a part of it. You tell yourself you're doing people a favor by staying distant, that no one wants your low energy around anyway. But isolation doesn't just protect you, it reinforces the belief that you don't belong. So what can actually help you? Pick one consistent space and show up. It doesn't have to be social, it just has to be regular. Same cafe, same gym class, same time each week. Doing this gives you the opportunity for social connection. Next, you can try to respond to one message. Don't force big catch-ups, just start with one sentence, one emoji, one thread of connection. The next thing that you can do is to try to name the discomfort. I feel like I don't belong is a powerful thing to notice. Not a fact, but just an experience you're having. Sometimes just having that awareness can be half the battle. The next thing to try is to let presence come before connection. You don't have to talk to feel community. Sometimes just being around people is enough to start healing. If you recognize yourself in any of these signs, you don't need to panic, and you definitely don't need to go through it alone. Mental health decline isn't always loud. It doesn't always come with a dramatic collapse. Sometimes it's slow, quiet, barely noticeable, until suddenly you don't feel like yourself anymore. But noticing is power. If you can name it, you can work with it. Start small, pick one arena to support, add one thing to your calendar, eat one nourishing meal, send one message, step into one new space. You don't have to feel better overnight, but you deserve to feel like you again. If this resonated with you, leave a comment below, let me know which sign hit hardest, and if you know someone who might benefit from this message, send it their way. You never know what quiet struggle they might be carrying. You're not alone, you're never as alone as your mind tries to convince you.